Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Robert Meyer Burnett.
Andor.
Jonathan Boyko.
Oblivion, baby. It's out today.
Chris Carr's here.
It's Handmaid's Tale Day.
Ooh.
That's always fun and terrifying.
What a bummer
Sorry,
to
sorry to bring
reality.
it down.
Most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show party of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics that we have lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic you'd like us to address, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about the tip link. It's actually good 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you're listening to our podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a topic or a question. And if you send in a topic or a question to this tip link when we're not live, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. Again, if we look at it and deem it appropriate to be addressed on the episode. All right, guys. With that down, let's get things started with this, shall we? The Academy Awards, of course, we just had them recently. They're my number one favorite day of the year, other than Christmas. Christmas is my favorite day, but then Oscar Day is my favorite. Now, the Oscars being probably the best voting system we have in entertainment, it's still not perfect, and that means they got to tinker with it once in a while. And we've just got a set of new rules for the Oscars that the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences has just put out. And most of it is scheduling, deadline rules, stuff like that, some topics about AI and what have you. But one thing kind of jumped out, which was voting rules for Academy members. Specifically, they put out this, I'm telling you, hot take of a rule. The new rule, you got to watch the movies you're voting on.
Oh, come on. Jeez.
Can't believe it.
Do you know how busy I am?
Oscars so watch.
Oscars to watch. They got a new rule. Says you got to watch. Now. Unlike some misinformation that's already spreading around, and I saw some people in the live chat before the show started also misunderstanding this. This does not mean that every Academy voter needs to watch every movie that comes out this year. What it does mean is that every Academy voter has to watch the nominated films. Now, this comes to us from Variety, who wrote the following. Similar to how BAFTA conducts its voting, Academy members will only be able to access final round ballots for categories in which they've confirmed they've watched all the nominated films. The Academy will monitor the viewing activity through its members-only Academy Screening Room streaming platform. For films viewed outside of the platform, such as festivals, screenings, or private events, members must submit a form indicating when and where they watched the film. This verification process, previously used in preliminary and nomination voting for categories like international feature, animated feature, and the short film races, is now being applied to all categories. The move is intended to reduce so-called coattail voting and encourage more informed decisions for voters. All right. Now, for that to make any sense, there's a fundamental thing you need to understand about Academy voting, which is it's not the entire Academy that sets up the nominees. Like if you're a random member in the Academy, you have no say, depending on the branch you're in, on who the nominees are for Best Actor or who the nominees are for Best Director. You have no say in that. What happens is the Academy has a number of branches. There's the actors branch, directors, writers, music, on and on and on and on. They have a dozen plus more branches. And those branches are responsible for creating the list of nominees. Now, once the nominees are all together, then the whole Academy votes on the nominees. And what this rule is saying is that, let's say Rob is a voting member of the Academy. All right.
And I am.
The nominees are now out, and now he's getting ready to vote for Best Actor. He now must be able to verify that he has seen each of the performances in that category. If he has not, he cannot vote in that category. But let's say he has seen all the movies in which Best Director category is. Well, then he can vote in that category, and so on and so forth. So it's not saying that voting members of the Academy have to watch every movie that came out that year. That is a logistical impossibility. They're just saying, if you're voting in a category, you got to be able to confirm that you've seen those movies. And we can tell which movies you've seen because we have an Academy streaming service for Academy members to see all the Best Picture nominees and all the nominees for the Oscars. And if you happen to see it at a festival earlier, you got to sign basically a sworn affidavit. You got to sign that you actually saw that thing, and then you'll be able to do it. Now, has this been a real problem in the Academy? No. No, it hasn't been a real problem in the Academy. Like, has there been instances where I'm sure a couple of Academy members voted in a category that they haven't watched anything? I'm sure they have. But this is the beauty of having like an 8,000 voting member body. A couple of losers, like not doing their responsibilities, is ultimately not really going to sway the way the Academy voting goes. So was this a big problem in the Academy? No, I know several Academy, Rob, I know you know several Academy members, and they've always told me, yeah, like everybody watches everything. We're in the movie business. We love the movies. We watch more movies than you do, sort of thing, right? But I'm sure it has happened. So was it important to do this? Let me rephrase. Was this a big problem? No. But is it important anyway? I think yes. I think yes. I mean, if for anything else than just for the veracity of the voting and all that kind of stuff. And again, this isn't like the Golden Globes where you have 85 voting members and just 5 or 6 people voting funny can skew the whole thing. This is an 8,000, 9,000 voting member body. But I do think it was the right move to do. It codifies it. It makes it an actual official rule. And I think it does nothing but, help the validity of the Oscars as well. So was it a big problem? No. But was it important that they do this? I think yes. So I'm glad they did. Rob, you saw, the rule changes here. What do you think about
Well,
it?
I think it's actually a great thing because look, if you're a voting member of the Academy, you have to weigh in on the nominated films. I mean, and what you're doing is your branch, and then you can vote on Best Picture. So I don't think that's actually a lot to ask of any Academy member. I mean, you're looking at 5 nominations in whatever category, film editing or whatever it comes down to. And then if you want to vote in Best Picture, you have now 10. So that's really 15 movies that you have to watch. I think that's
if
fair.
those are the only categories you want to vote in.
Yes.
If you want to vote in all the categories.
But I don't think that you don't, like, if you're not an editor, do you get to vote in the editing category, or just do you have to be a part of that? Do you have to?
No, if you are in the editor's branch, you are a part of the group that puts together the nomination list. And then when it comes to, once all the nominees are set, you get to vote in all the categories, provided now you've seen all the movies in those categories.
But I think that's what I mean, is that the category is only 5 films deep. And I think it makes sense. And you've got time. That's why they have all the films available as screeners. I mean, if you're going to vote for the Oscars, it's fun. Starting around the holiday season, you can start watching what you think are going to be the top films, and there's a way that they can vet you, and it only makes sense. I mean, I think it can only help the awards to become more legitimate.
And more than likely, you've already seen the movies too. Like
that's the thing. Yeah. You've probably already seen. They've probably seen them all already anyway. But still, Chris, I still think it's a good move. I think this is the right step to take. I think this should actually be in the rule book and not just an unwritten rule sort of thing. How do you see this?
Oh, I absolutely think if you're voting on these things, like any kind of vote, you should be an informed voter. You should actually have seen the film so you can have an actual say, as opposed to, well, this is what I like. If I was an Academy member or if I was on the SAG panel this year, I would have had to watch The Substance. Even though that is not my kind of movie, because I would be a voter in it.
Wait till you see what happens to eyes in that movie.
Oh my gosh. Well, and I didn't vote in the SAG Awards this year because I knew I wasn't going to see some stuff, and went, you know what? I don't think that I should put a vote in if I haven't seen every single one of these movies. If I had been on the nominating committee, totally different situation than for me, right?
Which you were on the nominating committee
I have been, which is super fun. And then you get to go to screenings and it's a blast. It's such a good time. My one thing though is, how do you actually really regulate this? I mean, are people watching the wikis? Are reading the wikis instead of seeing the movie? You know what I mean? How are they validating and
Well, they
checking
say
everything?
they think that they can tell, like, most of the members watch these movies through the Academy database, and they can see, oh, yes, Chris Carr
Have
did
watched
access and then watch these movies.
Like, you could literally, hit play, go do your like chores, and then come back.
And then like, know that you,
It
that
just
you
seems like
did
a
hit
lot
play.
of seems like a lot of effort to avoid watching.
Or
a
if
movie.
it's the
Yeah.
movie you saw at a festival or outside of the streaming service, you have to sign a sworn statement saying that you saw the movie.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense then, because I didn't know if this was going to be like, I don't need to watch The Descent. I read the Wikipedia. So,
No, you should see it 'cause it's
never,
awesome.
never. I will never watch
awesome.
that film. No. But I'm glad that they actually have something in place for this, because you should be voting on films you've actually seen. And if you're going to be a member of the Academy, you have to put yourself out there and see things that are probably not your normal cup of tea. That's the whole point of being on this board, is to see different types of films and see how they speak to you.
You know what I really like? I like the little caveat they made in this that says, hey, look, you don't have to watch every nominated film. You don't have to vote in every single category. I like the fact that they're saying, hey, if there's 3 categories where you missed 1 or 2 of the movies, you just don't get to vote in those categories. You still get to vote on all the other categories. I kind of like that. I think that's a good move for them to do. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Academy's got itself a new rule saying you got to watch the movies you're voting on. I mean, that always goes without saying, but now they're actually putting it on paper. I think it's a good move. How do you feel about it? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave those thoughts there. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Under the category of little horror films that really pleasantly surprised me, movies like Lights Out. What was the one with Slang, with Stephen Lang, where he's the blind guy?
Oh my god.
Oh, don't breathe.
Don't breathe.
Yeah.
Like, don't say a word. It's
Yeah,
not
don't
something-
breathe.
It's Fetty Alvarez.
That was a really nice little one. But in that list, I would also put this little movie with Margot Robbie, Samara Weaving, called Ready or Not. You guys remember this movie? First of all, everybody thought it was Margot Robbie. When the trailers came out, everybody thought that was Margot Robbie in it. It's like people would even write in, you know that new Margot Robbie movie? It's not Margot Robbie. It's Samara Weaving. Anyway, a low budget, simple, little horror film that positively delighted me. I had a really good time with it. And it did fairly well for what it was. Well, there was a report last year saying they're looking at doing a sequel, and now it's official. It actually started shooting yesterday, and it's called Ready or Not, Here I Come, is the name of it, which is actually a pretty good thing. And Samara Weaving is returning. We've gotten some new people coming along, including, according to IndieWire, Elijah Wood, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and David Cronenberg
Yes, please.
is joining the cast
Wow.
as well. Cronenberg is doing more acting than directing lately, but I know you're really excited about his new one. He's got, what's it,
The
Shroud?
Shrouds. It
Yeah.
opens wide this week.
What a creepy trailer that is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if I want to watch it. Like, yeah, I know. Chris doesn't look all that enthusiastic.
She's ready to nominate it.
Big
She's
notes.
ready to vote right now on that.
Never.
Anyway, Elijah Wood, Sarah Michelle Gellar, who I just got finished watching a little while ago in Dexter. What was it called? First Blood? No.
Isn't that what it is? No, that's Rambo.
Dexter. Blood in, blood out.
Origins.
No, it's Dexter Origins. No, it was Dexter. I can't remember what it was.
No, not New Blood. What is
there was
it? Shoot.
there was New Blood, Original Sin.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Right. I just finished watching her in that. She was really good in that. I'm looking forward to seeing this.
Dexter First Blood.
I'll tell you what, sign me up. I'm just so excited that we're getting another one of these. Now I want another Abigail, by the way. Can I put that? That's another little low budget.
That would be
simple
a
horror
great one to do. I haven't seen Ready or Not, so it's on my
film.
list.
Ready
I'm
or
doing
Not's a lot of fun.
it. Is that freaking Kittredge in the first one?
Yes.
You've never seen me angry, Kittredge.
It is.
Kittredge, you never seen me angry.
And it's neat little scares. It's a very Joss Whedon feeling kind of horror film. Like if you just watched it cold and say, what filmmaker do you think made this? I might have said Joss Whedon, actually, to be honest, having watched it first. But anyway, great little film. Chris, did you ever get around to seeing Ready or Not?
I've only seen parts of it because this was one that people showed me some clips of. I think you can handle this, and it seems so fun and ridiculous that I do want to watch this one. I do enjoy Samara Weaving so much too, so I want to see more of this because this seems super fun. And the fact that they're doing more of these, I think, is great. I love that because a horror comedy, which this kind of leans into a little bit. There's
Right.
just so much ridiculousness in this, is such a fun time. And I can do a little bit better with stylized violence, right? People in the chat already were going, oh, The Descent's not that scary, which no, I don't believe you, because John was way too gleeful about trying to get me to watch that movie, all right? But also, it has hyper-realistic violence
Yes.
against the people in it.
Yeah.
When it is a bit more of that kind of Tarantino red, if you will, I tend to do better with that. Like a Hot Fuzz level of violence,
Sure.
that's fun. And that's kind of what this has, is the gamified version of this that is just so wacky and ridiculous that I can
kinda
get
feel like-
behind.
I feel like Abigail would be then.
Oh my gosh, Abigail was so fun.
Okay.
I finally watched that at home.
Abigail
I had
was
a
the best.
blast.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Abigail, why am I freezing on his name? The guy from the most recent Planet of the Apes movie, who was the main big bad ape, and he was in Abigail. He's the big guy in Abigail.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm freezing on his name now.
He
But
was
anyway,
also in Fruitvale Station. He was the cop.
he's going to be in Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
He's also going to be in this. So it's
Oh,
like,
fun.
yeah,
Okay.
I love Kevin Durant, actually. I think he's really fun whenever he pops up and stuff. Remember, he was in that little vampire show that came out about 8, 9, 10 years ago. Those on Fox, where, and I can't remember the name of the show now. It only lasted a couple of seasons, where vampirism was spreading throughout the city. It was called The Strain.
Oh yeah, that's based on the Guillermo del Toro
Yeah.
book.
If they ever
So-
did a Elon Musk biopic, he could play him.
Oh, Kevin, yeah. Do you got a pic of Kevin there?
yeah, I'll grab one.
Somewhere but he could also easily play, although a much beefier, bigger,
Yeah,
muscular
Yeah.
true.
Elon Musk, which I'm sure Elon would like to tell you that it's just the same thing. But this looks great. Anyway, Rob, what did you think about the original? And do you think, I mean, it's not like it was a huge blockbuster. Are you surprised they're doing another
You
one?
know, it's funny. No, because okay, when I saw Ready or Not, I had not seen it theatrically, and I bought it, and I'm watching it. I'm like, this is really clever. But what really put it over, it was one of those things where I didn't know when it got to the end, and the end happens. I'm like, oh, chef's kiss. I'm like, this was because it's put it over the top for me, and I'm like, I love this movie. So the idea that they're making a sequel to it, I'm in, because where that movie went opened up a lot of possibilities for where a sequel could go.
Yeah.
And because it was really a combination, it reminded me of, in a way, the ending had a Cabin in the Woods quality.
That's exactly what I felt.
And
too, yeah.
I thought that was outstanding, and I really love that. But I also thought what was really interesting was I was locked into the premise. It had one of those great just one-liners. You got to go, oh, I have to see that. I got to see that. Once you know what's going on. And it was the directing and the writing, they took that premise, they really explored all of it. I felt very fulfilled when I saw that movie, and it was a one-location film.
Yeah.
You know, you're basically, I mean, I'm sure they used sets, but it was in one house. And I thought they really milked it for all it was worth. And again, it's one of those, when you go to these lower budget movies, they can still be great. You know, I always talk about movies at scale. A movie like Ready or Not, look, it's not Gone with the Wind, it's not Lawrence of Arabia, it's not Apocalypse Now. But for what it was,
Well,
it delivered the goods.
Look at a movie like Sleuth, man. Sleuth's one of my favorite
Yeah.
movies, and it's in
yeah.
what?
Two
and it's
guys in
actually
a
there's
room.
two versions of it.
Yeah,
but
but same kind of thing, or Death Trap with Christopher Reeve. You know, these are films that are still great movies. You know, Companion is the most recent one that I keep banging on about because it was so fulfilling. The writing was there, the direction was there. Again, basically a one-location film. When you have a filmmaker that can pull that off and give you a fulfilling experience, I think that's really admirable, and I'm looking forward to it, man. Because if they come up with a good idea and they take it to its wherever it's going to go, I'm in. Count me in.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? A Ready or Not sequel called Ready or Not, Here I Come is on the way. We've got Samara Weaving returning. We got Elijah Wood joining it. Sarah Michelle Gellar, David Cronenberg added to it. Kevin Durant. Anyway, I'm very excited about it. How do you guys feel about this? Whatever you're feeling, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this. Under the category of Dear God, Why? We have a new movie announced, according to Deadline. Because, you know, since Super Mario Brothers and Minecraft have made so much money. Any video game movie will make money, right? Well, that seems to be the thinking of one Michael Bay, as according to Deadline. Michael Bay and Sydney Sweeney are going to be producing a new Outrun movie
The video game with no story.
with
She
no
wasn't even
characters.
born when that was in arcades.
No,
I know.
I was, unfortunately.
With
It's all
no
I am.
characters, no real
Great
story.
game though.
But it is now. In their defense, no characters, no story, whatever. I did say the same thing about the Lego movie when
Sure.
they were making you're making a movie about plastic building blocks. Well, the key was they built a great story around it. So now we're going to get an Outrun thing, which, man, I mean, this was perfect. Because actually, bring my screen up again. This was perfect that they put this graphic in there, because when I first read it, I couldn't even remember the game. And then that graphic came up. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I played that when I was a child, for heaven's sakes.
And it was a great game.
And it was a fun game, especially at the time. I don't know that it aged particularly great, but there it is, right? And it was popular like throughout the 80s. So they're going to decide to make a movie about that. Now, it should be noted that there's nothing in any of the reports saying that Sydney Sweeney will be in the movie. It's just reporting that she's going to be producing it along with Michael Bay. And I don't know if the race car will transform into some giant robot at some point, or if the U.S. Navy will come sailing in and dropping off cars. I don't know. But look, if this is based or predicated on the idea that, well, hey, they just made a video game movie and it made all this money, let's just dig up any video game we can get the rights to and make. I just don't understand. And if you have a great original idea to build this movie around, why not just make that movie and not put a title on it that most people won't even recognize? So I don't know. This is one of those things where, and by the way, I am a Michael Bay apologist for the most part.
Same.
Yeah, really?
I freaking love all those explosions, man.
I mean, I
Let's go.
hated most of his Transformers movies,
Yes,
but I'm actually a fan of a lot of his other stuff. So
watch
I'm an
that
apologist too. I apologize to all those who have to watch.
who had to watch his movie.
I will die on the dark of the moon hill.
So I like Michael Bay. I do. Although I hated his ambulance movie. Remember that one?
Oh, that
was
wasn't
like,
good. But I really love his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I know
I
that
did
upsets
too.
people. I think they're so fun.
No, to be fair, like he has hits, he has misses, he has hits.
Yeah.
yeah, he has hits, right? He definitely has hits. So I'm gonna
mean, yeah.
I'm gonna just cross my fingers. Although I am gonna scratch my head about the whole philosophy behind doing this one. But hey, hopefully it turns out great. Chris, you saw this news.
Yeah.
What's your thought?
I'm a little confused by it. And Outrun is a little before my time, and so I didn't play this one, but I've seen some of the iconography from
Sure.
it. But yeah, it's how do you differentiate this from other racing franchises, aside from like, this is one of those games that is in the top 100 for Sega?
I mean, it didn't do well for Need for Speed.
No.
You know?
And when Gran Turismo was decently received,
Right.
you know?
I surprisingly liked that one.
I feel
I
like
didn't think I would, but I did end up liking that
I
one.
watched that movie and was like, wow, David Harbour, do your shoulders hurt from holding up this whole film?
Oh.
But it wasn't for me. I think it's an interesting story, but I just didn't think it was executed as well as it could have been. So I'm just a little confused by what this is going to be, unless they're going to kind of lean into the camp and very like late 80s, early 90s style of this. I'm just trying to figure out the why of this movie.
Well, Minecraft, Mario Brothers is probably the
Sure.
why, which is a bad reason.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that money is a very big why, but you know, Rob, you ate a face. Tell me why. Tell me
Well,
why.
to follow up with the why of it, I really want to know how this deal between Sydney Sweeney and Michael Bay came about. Like, were they just dining at Dan Tana's one night and they saw each other across the room?
Dan
going,
Tana's, that's
we
a
should
deep
do
cut.
something together. Let's do an Outrun movie. Like, I want to know how this kind of thing happened. Was it pitched to them separately in separate meetings, or did Sydney Sweeney, does she know Michael Bay? Like, Michael Bay is looking for something to do, and this is what they could do, anything in the world. But it was Outrun that they settled on.
Sydney Sweeney, by the way, has been doing a lot of producing lately. She's actually getting
of
more and
course,
more involved
but
as a producer.
You're not going to convince me that she was one day looking at her retro gaming collection and decided, you know what the world needs? Outrun. I mean, you know what? Let me be the first person to throw in the Mattel Electronics in television game Utopia Now there's something that needs a video game adaptation.
People are like, in television.
Yeah, I know.
I hope that she likes retro gaming. That'd be such a fun little.
You know-
Well,
Sydney
you know what?
Sweeney
If suddenly she
fun
comes
fact.
out, you find out she's got a basement arcade full of
She could.
only, like she's got Star Castle.
For all you
Oh,
know, her
damn.
father
Okay.
or whatever was an enthusiast, and that's what she grew up with. I
It
don't know.
could be. Could be. I don't mean to denigrate anybody on this. I'm just wondering how it happened and how it came to be, and who decided, yes, we're going to finance an Outrun movie.
Saw this great conversation when Sydney Sweeney came up, and this was actually a line from it. Do you mean the girl from the bath soap commercial? The genie girl in the bath soap commercial? Yes, that's exactly who we're talking about.
I love that that is how somebody knows her, and only that.
She's the
Oh,
The
the
nun so
genie.
immaculate.
Oh,
the bath
okay.
soap genie.
Neat.
Again, I'm going to cheer for it. I think they would be doing themselves a favor if they came out and announced that Sydney was going to be in the movie. That makes it a little bit more of an attraction to people. But anyway, guys, question is for you. I don't know. What do you think about this? They're going to make an Outrun movie. Michael Bay is going to do an Outrun movie with Sydney Sweeney. They're going to be producing this thing. Good idea, bad idea. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? In the history of great cinematic mistakes, I still hold that one of the bigger ones, although it was a very, very difficult decision and a very, very difficult set of circumstances, one of the biggest mistakes was the decision not to recast the character of T'Challa and rather kill off the character of T'Challa instead of recasting him after the passing of the great Chadwick Boseman. Now, you guys all know my feelings on this. I think the way you honor somebody is to be there to carry on their legacy, to continue to build on the foundation that they laid, and not to take this incredibly culturally important character that Chadwick Boseman put years of his life into manifesting and bringing to screen and saying, oh, Chadwick's not here anymore? Let's take this character and just throw him out the window. I don't think that was the right decision. I think that was infinitely the wrong decision. But we've been over that a million times. Now, a report came out a while ago that Marvel was looking at bringing back T'Challa, but it created a little bit of debate and discussion. Did they mean T'Challa as in T'Challa's son T'Challa, the one that we discover at the end of Black Panther 2? Or did it mean they were finally going to rectify their mistake and recast T'Challa? I thought it meant that they were going to recast him. But according to a new report coming from Jeff Snyder, who, by the way, remember, just recently broke that story that they offered the role of the Star Wars role to Mikey Madison. And now she eventually turned it down, but Jeff was the first one to report that she'd even got it. He was right about that. Well, he's reporting now that it's not going to be Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, but it's rather going to be T'Challa Jr. This comes us from CBR. It's not T'Challa 1, it's T'Challa 2. He explained of the reported recasting. They're casting the son. They're casting the new Black Panther. I'm already sort of intimating who it's going to be. They made an offer to an actor who is now a superhero elsewhere, and there will be a lot on that person's shoulder.
Ooh.
Not really sure who he's talking about, but that's aside the point. Kids, let this be a lesson to you. In life, you can come back from bad decisions, but the danger of bad decisions is that they quickly domino effect into more bad decisions. For example, they made a bad decision not to recast T'Challa and to carry on Chadwick's legacy. That was a mistake, which led to the next mistake. Well, out of all these great Wakandan warriors, who should be the next warrior defender of Wakanda? We know, the Lab Girl. And they made Shuri, who is one of my favorite characters in the MCU, but she should not have been Black Panther, especially when you had Okoye and Nakia. And the list went on and on. So they made that mistake. And then they realized, oh, well, that was a mistake. That didn't go over well. Okay. So no, let's make another mistake. And we're going to again we're going to get our third Black Panther now. In T'Challa's son. And maybe it'll work out great. And I hope that it does. I really, really do. I just think, Rob, you can always do the right things and have it not work out, right? You can sometimes do the wrong things and have it very luckily work out. But our job is to put ourselves in the best possible position for success. I read this and I continue to feel they're not putting themselves in the best possible position to succeed. I think this can still succeed. I think this can work out great. I just don't think they're putting themselves in the position where they have their highest chances of doing that. Anyway, what do you think about this report coming out that they're looking at making the new Black Panther somehow multidimensional or aged up T'Challa's son?
Well, the thing about T'Challa's son is you have a time issue. Like, does that mean where's the age of the MCU? Like, is it still in 2025? Like, how many years have passed? And I think, look, by having the Fantastic Four not come from the 616, they've opened up the fact that a cornerstone characters in the MCU, which are going to be presumably the Fantastic Four, if you were to have a T'Challa being introduced from another Earth, I think it would, being that this is the Infinity Saga and you do have Secret Wars coming.
Right.
They have it built in and they have a comic precedent that they could introduce another esteemed actor to play T'Challa that isn't necessarily Chadwick Boseman's son, because I think having the T'Challa 2 and another T'Challa from a different universe could be interesting moving forward. There's something you could do that could be kind of interesting with that, where a mentor-son relationship, even though they're not really father and son, could be interesting. But
You saw that?
Brawny T'Challa. One of our users wrote Brawny T'Challa. Very good.
But
I love that you knew exactly what it was I was chuckling at.
But anyway, I just think that look, I really admired Wakanda Forever. I really enjoyed that movie. I saw it multiple times in the theater, even though Namor was maybe not. I still really liked what they did. And I really enjoyed a lot of the world building in that episode. And I particularly enjoyed Angela Bassett.
Oh, she got
do no
nominated
wrong.
for an
But,
Academy
oh my
Award
God.
for it.
Yeah. She's incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing. And Ruth Carter's dresses. If I was a woman, I would want to look like Angela Bassett in Wakanda Forever. I'm just saying. But no, I mean, I think it's an interesting way to go. But I do think that the character of T'Challa should be brought back, especially because we have the multiverse. And I just worry if it's T'Challa 2, what is the timeline there? Because he was, what, like 8 at the end of that end scene?
So
in
he'd only
Wakanda
be like
Forever?
10 or 11 now.
Yeah.
Chris, I mean, again, it does present some problems. But I also wonder when he says, they're looking at an actor who's already playing another superhero. So the dude from Green Lantern?
Aaron Pierre? I don't know.
Aaron Pierre?
I feel like
that
maybe
would seem to make the most sense to me right now.
I mean, Aldous Hodge could be there. We could even go with A-Train. Jesse, gosh, what's his last name from On the Boys?
Oh, the dude from The Boys.
Yeah. We've got a couple options.
Yeah.
It's just I made this joke so many times and now I'm like, oh no, is that what they're going to do? I just don't want little T'Challa aged up a la Lion-O from the Thundercats.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that this is a fully realized adult person who
Yeah.
isn't just thrown into this. And if it is a teenager who takes on the role or something, it's just, the young man who played him in Wakanda Forever was young. I don't think he's had enough time to become the person who would take on the mantle. And so it definitely would be this kind of recasting situation. I'm just trying to, bless you, make sense of that timeline. And I don't want it to be some wibbly wobbly timey wimey thing. I don't want it to be some kind of magic aged him. I want it to be the mythos around the Black Panther is interesting enough already. I don't need a new layer of mythology thrown onto this. I just need the casting to make sense.
Also,
and I'm worried about it.
The character of Black Panther has such gravitas. And I was so looking
At least
forward.
T'Challa does.
Yeah, I mean, T'Challa, Chad Boseman was so great. Like, when I saw Black Panther, I'm like, this guy could lead the Avengers and make it very credible, and I think that the Marvel Universe would be served by an adult guy playing T'Challa who has that gravitas. Like an Aaron Pierre, man. Oh my God.
Well, him or Aldous Hodge would also carry that kind of screen presence. They really
either
would.
one of those guys. I mean, I want to believe that Black Panther could lead the Avengers, because Chad Boseman could do no wrong.
Yeah. All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? According to this new report that's going around, they're going to have T'Challa Jr., Brawny T'Challa. I love that. That's all I'm going to think of him as now, Brawny T'Challa, instead of actually recasting the character of T'Challa. Good move, bad move. Who could you see playing the role in either case? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's talk about this. According to reports going around, this is StarWarsNewsNet.com. Kathleen Kennedy will be stepping down from Lucasfilm in August. Now, just a little bit of background on this. A little bit ago, I told you that I had gotten from a couple of reliable sources that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be stepping down sometime between the release of the last Indiana Jones movie and the end of that year. And then a couple of other outlets confirmed that they had also gotten that same thing. But guess what happened? End of the year came, and Kathy's still here. So much for that. Now, a number of months ago, Deadline actually reported that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down, and it'll be sometime before the end of this year. And that was from Deadline. And now, the aforementioned Jeff Snyder has reported that it's been decided she's leaving in August. So that kind of backs up what the Deadline report said, but now we've got a more specific timeline saying that she'll be done in August. Now, she responded to this by, well, kind of dancing around it. Star Wars Newsnet wrote this. Just last week during Star Wars Celebration, Screen Rant asked Kathleen Kennedy about her departure, to which she replied, "I'm not retiring. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere." This is the same line she gave Deadline back in February when news first broke, and of course, it's deliberately misleading. In fact, during that Deadline interview, she confirmed news of her exit would be coming within the year. The report never said Kathleen Kennedy was retiring from filmmaking, but rather that she was stepping down as Lucasfilm president. She's not going anywhere because she'll still be a producer on multiple Star Wars films she's currently developing at the company. That is the best way I could have put the explanation. Basically, she's becoming Catherine O'Hara's character from the studio.
Yeah.
She's going to be not the boss anymore, but she'll probably still have a shingle on the lot, and she's probably still going to be producing a lot of stuff for them. And that's good, because listen, people, I know I have to bring this up all the time because people get the mistaken impression that I am some kind of rabid Kathleen Kennedy hater. And I am not, I assure you. I think Kathleen Kennedy, to quote Steven Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of all time, she's the greatest producer Hollywood's ever known. That's what Steven Spielberg says. The greatest filmmaker ever. She has had 8 of her films nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, with Spielberg and without Spielberg. She is one of the greatest producers in the history of the business, but just because you're good at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be good at another. And she is, like Wayne Gretzky, greatest professional athlete of all time, was not a very good coach. Same game, but it was not a good coach. She's a great producer, but she was not a good studio head. And quite frankly, and I say this all respect, she should have left this position years ago. Years ago. And what have we got? We've got, at best, to be kind, a very mixed bag of Disney Plus shows. A couple of them fantastic, a lot of them awful. And we've had, sorry, one second. I just want to make sure I get this absolutely right. I'll open up my calculator app. Yes, 0 films in 6 years. 0. None.
But it's been 6 years, so it's a number.
It is a number. You're the head of Star Wars. We've had no films in 6 years, and the next one we have coming is just an extension of a TV show. So, look, I'm glad she got to do this Star Wars Celebration. Remember, I told you guys prior to Star Wars Celebration, I said, she'll get her love there. She will. And everybody wrote it, oh no, people hate. I said, a lot of fans may not like her, but Star Wars Celebration is a very friendly event.
Yeah.
And they're very warm. And I told you she's going to go and get her flowers there, and she did. And I'm glad she had that experience. She's been running the company for 10 years now, a little over 10 years. And whether it's August or whether it's December, whatever, I do hope it's August. You know, Rob, we had a conversation before starting about, who are they going to have in place? How long will it take them to get somebody in place? And, you know, the reality is, I think they've known since I first talked about it back around the other Indiana Jones. I think they've known they were paving the way for her departure. Maybe she just stayed on long enough until they could actually find the right person, because I don't think what Star Wars needs right now is an interim head. I think they need to swap her out when they've got their actual replacement, and maybe they do have their replacement now. I don't know who it should be or who it will be. It certainly shouldn't be Dave Filoni. I love Dave, but he's a creative. I don't think he should be it. Plus, I don't think he's done Star Wars a lot of favors in the last couple of years. I think they should just get a great executive in, maybe have a Dave Filoni and a John Favreau as their primary creative people to work under them. I don't know, but I kind of buy this. I think this sounds right. An August departure would be good, and that would tell me they've got a person lined up and ready to go, maybe. I don't know. You hear this story. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, I mean, on one hand, I mean, she's certainly done her bit for King and Country when it comes to what she's done in her career. And, I mean, she was producer on E.T., in 1982.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's really interesting is a great producer provides and facilitates everything that the creatives need, starting with the director, to make a film. And the creatives are the ones that are making these creative decisions. A producer has to manage the creatives so they're not too pie in the sky, keeps them corralled, essentially. It's like herding cats. But a great producer makes sure that all of their creatives are able to function and facilitate. And that is not something to be ever poo-pooed as a job. And she was an in the trenches producer. And that's a lot of that's something that I think a lot of things, what I don't even know what I'm saying. People don't understand that about her. And that's why Steven Spielberg said she's one of the greatest producers of all time. Because if you need someone to facilitate bringing your vision to the screen, and she's worked with the giants, she's worked with people that have a lot of weight to throw around, and that she can manage them is a testament to her whole career. But I think even for somebody who's had a great 40-year plus career, sometimes it's time to hang it up. I mean, she's in her 70s. There's other things she probably wants to do. I mean, she's already
insists she's going to keep producing.
Yeah, I could see her keep producing. Her and her husband Frank Marshall is still active as well, and I think the two of them probably have a lot to do. They might have some passion projects they want to get off the ground. I mean, she produced a movie. She produced Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
And she might want to move away. Like, okay, science fiction and fantasy are great. Maybe there's some historical things she wants to tackle. Maybe there's some issue-oriented films she wants to get made. And she can use her clout to get those made. That's what she wants. She wants to spend the rest of her life making things that, have a real impact in terms of emotionally or something. And I can see that. And why not? That makes sense to me. And it's not like she's been people have rolled out the red carpet and have really enjoyed her time, and her time she spent as president of Lucasfilm, I'm sure she's going to look back at warmly and think about how wonderful it was and all the things she accomplished and how much love she felt from the audience.
And hey, in her defense, she made the studio a lot of money.
Yeah, she did.
She made 3 films in a row that all made over $1 billion. She produced, listen, whatever you think about it, she produced the highest grossing film domestically of all time. No film in history has ever made as much money as Star Wars, Force Awakens in North America.
She helped launch Disney Plus with The Mandalorian.
Yeah, she did. By the way, these are just the 8 films that she has produced that were nominated for Best Picture, okay? And there's tons of others that got lots of other awards. She produced the original film version of The Color Purple. She produced E.T. She produced The Sixth Sense. She produced Seabiscuit. She produced Munich, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Lincoln, War Horse. These are just the Best Picture nominees.
Yeah.
And she's made a number of other major iconic pop cultural Bible kind of films forever and all that kind of stuff. The other thing, the reason I don't like the idea of Dave Filoni, and I really like Dave. So Lucasfilm is primarily a movie studio, right? How many movies has Dave Filoni made? Anybody? None.
0.
0 movies. You would hire somebody who's made no movies to be the head of the movie studio.
Right.
Brilliant idea. And I really hope Disney is smarter than that. Again, I love him in the creative position. I love him as a creative officer. I think he can be a tremendous asset to Star Wars that way. But at any rate, Chris, you hear about this. I guess the question I didn't ask Rob, and I should have, do we believe this? Like, is she actually finally going to go? And is it time? Do you think she'll stick around longer? What do you think?
I think we're going to have a succession. But yeah, to your point and what she's actually said too, she's not retiring. She is not going to stop being a producer. She's just not going to be in this role at Lucasfilm. And I do believe that. August does seem a little earlier than what I thought. But when we were doing our, I think it was either over, under, or like more likely games, one of those, you had brought up too, like, why not leave on Andor? Why not leave on the high note? And I feel like, yeah, leave on something that is wonderful, critically acclaimed television and get out and go do those other projects then.
And she's got 2 other movies with The Mandalorian and Grogu and Starfighter that look like they're actually happening.
Yeah.
So she greenlit those. Both of those movies are probably going to do pretty well, I would imagine.
Exactly. So end on the high. Take the win. Get out. Go do other stuff.
I mean, I still think she should have gone years ago, but
Sure.
This is like, especially on the heels of Andor, which some people are saying it's one of the greatest television shows of all time now. Can't wait to start watching it tonight. Woo! You're right, Chris. That's a good time to go. That's a great time to announce. Go off with a big win. Walk off the court with 60 like Kobe did, and call it a career.
And in a way, I mean, if you think about it, they've announced that Star Wars Celebration is going to happen in April of 2027. For the 50th anniversary of Star Wars,
right,
which will happen the next month. To have a new regime coming out with, they've got Starfighter coming out. They will have already had The Mandalorian and Grogu. They're going to enter the second half century of Star Wars' life. What a way to celebrate the next 50 years with a new regime coming out with already, presumably on the heels of a win with Mandalorian and Grogu, about to release Star Wars Starfighter with Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling. What a great way to begin a new era.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Following on the heels of the report from Deadline a couple of months ago that Kathleen Kennedy would be stepping down before the end of the year, now comes this report that the actual circle date on the calendar is August. That would tell me that they've already got somebody else in line and ready to come. Maybe they got to wait for them till August for them to finish whatever job they're doing somewhere else. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Do you agree with me that this probably should have happened in many years ago? Or do you think this is the perfect time? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's now time for us to move on to the most important part of our show. So we're going to, it's that it's important that Chris and Rob leave. It just happens to coincide with it. So we're going to say farewell for today to Chris.
Time to go.
Get the hell out of here.
And Rob.
You're
Thanks,
out.
guys.
You're out of the studio, Bob.
But now the most important part of the show, which is taking your live comments and questions. So Jonathan, what are we starting off with here?
We got Hawkeye. Rewatch that one take Matt Murdock prison fight scene in Daredevil season 3. And tell me again why you think Cox isn't worthy of an Emmy. That man put his entire heart and soul into that performance. I feel like that was
great, but it wasn't. No, it doesn't compare to the thespian acting that the others did. Listen, you're making it out like as if I don't like Charlie Cox. I've liked Charlie Cox way longer than you have. But no, he didn't deserve an Emmy for that. He just didn't.
Yeah. Well, when I think of that scene, I think of the stunt coordinating.
The stunt coordinator and the action. Yeah,
I think of the
that doesn't get you an
cinematography.
Emmy for acting. Yeah.
Yeah, the director. Okay, Mike T, I'm so sorry this isn't movie related, but my mom passed away this
I'm
morning.
so sorry to hear that.
Terrible, man. And this is honestly the worst feeling I've ever experienced. How did you get through it?
If I'm going to be like really honest, I haven't gotten through it. I haven't really dealt with it yet.
It's a process that takes years, honestly.
To be honest with you, I haven't even let myself really deal with it yet, because like when my mom passed away, my first thought, and really ever since, has been my dad. My dad, I've known my mom my whole life. My dad's known her longer and has been with her longer. And I've really just been completely focused on my dad and kind of thinking about him and what's going on. And I haven't even really allowed myself, partially it's just me being a coward. Partially is I am really concerned about my dad, but the other part is I'm afraid, honestly, to really sit down and deal with it, and I haven't yet. It's and listen, just so you know, you're not alone. My mom's passing, especially with me having lived the last number of years away from her, has really fucking messed me up. I'm not gonna lie to you. I put on a pretty good veneer, a pretty good thing, but I'm completely messed up. I'm a wreck. I really am, and I haven't really started to deal with it yet. So, I am not the one who can give you the answer, except to say that one of the things that has really kept me going and kept me through it has been the support of my family and, of course, Anne and all that kind of stuff. So that's where you lean. And then I can't tell you how to deal with it because I haven't dealt with it yet myself. But lean on your friends and family.
I gotta say, there's gonna be some hard days. There's gonna be have some good days too. Like it's never gonna leave you. Trust me, it's never.
Because of course you and Anne lost your dad a few years ago.
It's always there with me. It's just some days it's hard, some days it's not, and then as you go on, the more the memories stop making you sad, but make you happy that you had that time, and that's what it turns into. But it'll never leave you. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but hopefully it'll turn into something positive that makes you keep wanting to live. Then brings you down. But I'm really sorry that happened. It's a tough.
Very
situation.
sorry to hear about that. All right, what's next?
We got Ray. So 2000 with a $20 tip.
Oh, thank you, man.
2008's Felon is such a great movie with Val Kilmer and Stephen Dorff. Just like Last of Us, it asks the hard question of what would I do if I lost a loved one that like they did. Those are like the best movies to me. Val was awesome and must-watch movie, Felon.
You know, it's so funny. Somebody else brought that up to me the other day. And of course, Val Kilmer passed away recently, which is such a loss to all of us as film fans. I honestly didn't think Felon was all that great. And I'll be honest with you. But I felt that before Val Kilmer passed away. So like that was never really on my list. Now, thematically, I completely agree with you. 100%. I agree with you thematically, but yeah, that was never one that was on my list, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Patty number 5 says, "Hey, John and crew, in anticipation of the Thunderbolts release, what are your most memorable or favorite scene moments from the members of the team? For me, the race to Barton, this would be in Hawkeye, after the elevator with Yelena and Kate in Hawkeye.
Yeah, that was a good scene. Kate and Yelena in the elevator, all the scenes they had together were actually really, really good. Everything involving Red Guardian in Black Widow. Obviously there's too many scenes with Bucky to even thought. One of my favorite Bucky scenes though is in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when Sam clues in that Bucky and Sam's sister are starting to flirt.
Yeah.
Like that was one of my favorite moments ever. That's great.
It's got to be when he catches the shield that very first time.
Oh, that was really
that scene
good.
was so awesome. Him with the mask on is so intimidating, and he looks so cool.
Yeah. Winter Soldier's badass, man. All right, what's next?
Chris with a 2-parter. For the past few years, people outside my film fan circle use fear of missing out as their main reason for seeing a movie in theaters when talking about it. While FOMO is a marketing tool to get more people to see any singular movie, shouldn't the industry focus on renormalizing going to the movies as the priority? It's disheartening to see the movie-going experience become a special occasion as opposed to the normal event it was not long ago.
Well, I mean, that's basically what I've been talking about every day for 5 years.
They got to make it more accessible.
Yeah, I mean, look, the movie theater industry, and I love the movie-going experience. It's my favorite thing in the world, and I love movie theaters. That's church for me, is movie theaters. But they have got to realize that there are certain things as an industry they need to do to make it more inviting to bring people back to the theaters. And again, my whole thing has been that you have two ways to make money. Sell more things to more people less expensively, or sell fewer things to fewer people more expensively. You can make money either way. We see the movie theater industry has been in a death cycle, okay, where a year comes and fewer people go to the movies than the year before. Well, the movie industry and the theaters and whatever don't want to lose that revenue. So what they do is they punish the people who are still going. So they raise prices to make up for the loss of the number of people coming in the door. All right. But the raising of the prices doesn't fix the problem. it only exasperates the problem. So the next year, even fewer people went to the movies. So what does the industry do? Well, let's punish the people who stayed loyal and keep coming even more. Let's raise the prices on them. And what they are doing is creating a systemic issue where every year their cure is worse than the disease. They have to get back to understanding. But I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I got a lot of hope. Because these idiots can't even figure out, hey, people don't want 30 minutes of trailers. They can't even figure that out. The simplest, basic, easy thing. Want to make the movie-going experience more pleasant? Do an arc like you used to do. 3 trailers in the movie. 7, 8 minutes and your movie starts. But rather, you're taking people that you're now charging $20 sometimes or more to see a movie, say, thanks for paying us. Now we're going to make you sit your ass in that seat and watch 30 minutes of commercials. Thank you very much. Fuck you. Anyway. Between that, concession prices, stuff like that, they've got to figure out a way to make it more inviting for people to come back to the theaters. And until they do, it's going to be a little bit more bleak. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Mexico Valley Jose says, hola amigos, in my most humble opinion, I was kind of disappointed on Abby's role. Straightforward, blind, pointless revenge. I expected a bit more elaborate plot. That aside, what an exquisite show. Just as John Campea's, you're the best guys. Thanks.
You murdered my dad isn't good enough? You murdered my father and our whole community, and that's not good enough?
And the thing is that if the series ended right there with she got her revenge and the end, that's just the beginning.
Oh yeah,
revenge
this
is just
the beginning of the story.
It's what is the cost of revenge?
It's like, wait a minute. So the whole reason Abby went after him and killed him is just because he killed her dad? Really? That's all? I was expecting more. No, I mean, I'm busting your balls a little bit, but I mean, yeah, I don't know what else we needed from her. I mean, that seemed pretty compelling to me. That seemed like a pretty compelling reason to me. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Future Man says, I always thought the show Andor was named after Cassian Andor, but after rewatching season 1, I believe the show is really named after Marva Andor because she was the first spark that started the rebellion, and Andor had followed in her footsteps. Could be the family name, but I think it's still Cassian.
No, it's Cassian Andor. Yeah, it really is Cassian Andor because I mean, like, for example, she wasn't in half the first season. She's not going to be in any of the second season.
And he's in Rogue One.
And he's in Rogue One. It is one. I mean, I like the thought process, but it's definitely Andor named because the original name of the series was Cassian Andor, and then they decided to shorten it to just Andor. Mm-hmm. And so yes, it is definitely about Cassian. All right, what's next?
Future Man says, I think what makes Andor so appealing is that he's just an average guy. He's nothing special. He has no powers. He isn't a Jedi. He's just someone who's been pushed around for far too long and has finally said enough. I think we can all relate to that.
Yeah, he's also a little bit of Liam Neeson in I have a particular set of skills. So, I mean, there's definitely that aspect to him as well. But that's the whole thing about what does oppression and what does fascism start to push you towards. I heard somebody say this. I can't remember who it was, but this is great. Because, we know where Andor ends up because we've seen Rogue One. And somebody described it like this. Andor is not a story about the destination. Andor is a story about the transformation. I love that saying. Andor is not a story about the destination because we already know the destination. Andor is a story of transformation. And how it not just pushes Andor, but also the people of the galaxy to a certain point. And, man, I cannot wait to start watching it tonight. I'm so excited. All right, what's next?
Got Anonymous. Not sure if anyone said it, but one of the women in Abby's crew is playing the main character of Naughty Dog's new game. Also, this episode destroyed the long night in Game of Thrones Season 8. It's everything I wanted from that, but couldn't see.
Yeah, listen, in all seriousness, as far as, the undead invading, the long night is better. The Game of Thrones thing was better.
It just had the build up to it too.
Except that you couldn't see a bloody thing.
Yeah.
Now, I say that it was better because, like, I later watched when they put out the corrected version and you
Right.
could actually see what was going on, and it was great. I mean, it was a fabulous sequence. It was fantastic. So was the one in Last of Us. But the problem was you couldn't see a damn thing. And I remember going on Twitter back when I still used Twitter, and saying, I'm watching the show. It's like, am I the only one that can't see a damn thing? And that's when I found out that the entire world was kind of experiencing it too. Like, yeah, I still can't. Like, who sits down and says, people aren't going to be able to see these things? It'll be fine. I thought that was crazy.
It's called the long night, not the long afternoon.
It's not the long bright daylight.
Yeah.
It's the long night. All right, what's next?
Matt Yellow says, hey, John, recently I've been trying to get into the National Hockey League, but don't have a team. Trying to use this playoff to pick one in the Midwest as I'm in Nebraska. Which team should I pick that's not a Canadian Leaf? Also, who are the best players and what's offsides in hockey?
Well, I mean,
that was
just
my
pick whatever team you want. I mean, it's you just pick one and go, or just watch for a little while and see what team starts to like really kind of gravitate towards you. As far as what is offside,
yeah, that was my first question to you when I tried to learn about hockey.
Okay.
That was my very first question
yep,
to John.
and I think that's for anybody watching hockey. The offside rule is not completely dissimilar to soccer's offside with a very specific thing. Jonathan, see if you can find, or actually, I'll see if I can bring up hockey rink diagram. I don't know. Let me see if I can find something here. Okay, this is a good example. Let me bring it up on my screen here in just a second here. All right, let's bring this up. Okay, now you see right in the middle, there's that red line that goes right down the middle. That's called the center line. Ooh, the center line. All right. Now, just outside of the center line, okay, on either side, you see there are two blue lines. They are called the blue lines. Now, here's what offside is. When your team has the puck and you're skating down to the other opponent's end and you're on the attack, nobody on your team is allowed to cross that blue line going into your opponent's zone until the puck has crossed that line. All right, so if there's three of us skating down the ice and I got the puck, the other guys cannot cross that blue line until I cross the blue line with the puck first. Or until I shoot the puck into their zone and the puck crosses that line.
So unlike in basketball where they can station up by the opponent's basket, wait for a pass, hit a three-pointer on the side.
They used to call that, they call that cherry picking.
Yeah, cherry picking.
There is no cherry picking allowed in hockey. So that's why when the defenders get the puck and shoot it out of their own zone past the blue line, all the attacking players have to leave that zone and go back outside of the blue line and wait for them to carry the puck back in to cross in. That is what offside is. If you understand and really get offside, now that I've told you that, watch a little bit of it. Once you really get that concept of offside, the rest of understanding hockey is super easy. Super easy. Anyway, I hope I did a decent enough job explaining it.
There you go.
All right, what's next?
CJ says, no spoilers. This one might be more aimed at Ray. Episode 2 of The Last of Us got me thinking about Casey Jones in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when he said, I'll never call golf a dull sport again. Man, that is a memory unlocked. I forgot about that line from the 1990.
I don't remember it. I remember the guy who played it.
Yeah, because he always carried the hockey stick. And then he used there was a golf club and he knocked some of the what was it? The hand or the foot?
The foot.
Not out with and he's like, I'll never
the hand is Daredevil.
Yeah, I'll never call golf a boring sport.
I don't, that's a good callback, but I don't remember the line.
Wow, that goes back.
All right, what's next?
Amin says, since Andor is dropping 3 episodes at a time, each around 50 minutes, any chance you move the after show to Wednesday? That way it'll give us all a chance to watch it because 3 episodes is a lot. Almost 3 hours, and it would be very late on Tuesday, especially for East Coast.
Yeah, I meant to announce that actually earlier today, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, because of that exactly, I have moved the Andor post-game show to Wednesdays because it goes live at 6. Figure I'll be done close to 9. And so I'd probably be starting the after show like 9:30. that's 12:30 in the morning for people on the East Coast. I mean, it's going to be late no matter what, but I don't want it to be that late. So yes, the Andor post-game show is now going to happen instead of on Tuesday nights, super, super late. It will instead be on Wednesday, a little bit earlier. So I'll let you know what time it's going to start tomorrow, but I have moved those to Wednesdays, yes.
Okay. Funky Buddha says, plan the parade. Go Leafs, go.
I'm all ready. I mean, they won one game. I'm ready to. I'm all ready to call it. Just etch their name on the Stanley Cup right now. It's all ready to go. All right, what's next?
Larry says, hey, John, later today, I'm going to AMC to see the sneak peek showcase of what you guys saw at
Nice.
CinemaCon. I don't know how much they are going to show us, considering it is a 1 hour and 10-minute screening, but very excited.
I love that they're doing this. I really, really do. And you know what? If it wasn't for the fact that Andor was out tonight, I'd go to see it myself just to relive it. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they showed us at CinemaCon that they won't show in this, but an hour and 10 minutes is a good amount of stuff. And you know what? I guarantee, you know what? They just put out that little trailer for weapons.
Right.
I bet they'll show the full 5-6 minute thing that they showed us. Because the full thing is great. Yeah, I think you're in for a treat. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad you're going to it. All right, what's next?
Jake G says, game day.
Game day.
Happy Andor premiere day, John and crew. I'm so stoked it's back. The writing and character monologues are the aspect of the show I'm looking forward to the most. Also, are you going to go to the screenings of Revenge of the Sith for the 20th anniversary?
Fuck no. Screw the prequels.
You're
Those
not
things
fans
are
of the
fucking
prequel?
garbage.
Oh,
Those things
man.
are such
Time to
garbage.
appreciate the prequels.
Boy.
The prequels suck ass.
What am
They
I gonna-
absolutely suck
What am I
ass.
going to do with this Phantom Menace Steelbook I got you for a present?
I mean, hey, all peace and love to anybody who likes those movies. That's great. But like, as far as I'm concerned, they're absolute horrendous piles of puke. Anyway, Andor though. Yeah, so excited for Andor tonight, man. All I think about, one of the greatest moments in television history, I think, is that scene in season 1 with Luthen. What have I sacrificed?
Yeah.
Everything. That whole monologue is one of the best monologues I've ever seen in any TV show ever.
Marty!
He gets older every time you do it.
He does. All right, what's next?
Gavin says it's game day. I'm beyond excited for Andor. And while I know it's not a cameo glory hole like Mando, I was wondering if there were cameos. Who would you want to see? I wouldn't mind seeing Palpatine at a Senate hearing or Vader hacking up rebels.
Screw cameos.
Nah,
I don't need member berry nonsense. Now, if it's for something important to the story, great. But I don't need to see Palpatine just for the sake of seeing Palpatine. Like, ooh, look, everybody, remember him? He's in the other Star Wars movies. Screw the member berries and screw the cameo stuff. Again, if it's important to the story, like when they use Saw Gerrera in season 1,
yeah.
if it's important to the story, like using Mon Mothma, because they're central to the story, then great. But please don't throw at, hey, look, it's Darth Vader hanging out at the bar. I don't want to see that. Please don't
Also,
do that.
if this is supposed to be a straight lead into Rogue One, then it takes away from seeing him ignite that saber in the hallway at the end of Rogue One. I mean, that was his reveal. So I don't want to see him before that.
Yeah, I mean, again, remember, the way they're structuring it is 3 episodes, and then they jump ahead 1 year. Then 3 more episodes, then they jump ahead another year, 3 episodes, jump ahead 1 more year, and then that leads us into Rogue One. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they structure this. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, I believe Carrie, Beck, and Dave will take over as head of Lucasfilm and take over once they are done filming Ahsoka Season 2. Also, what % chance would you give each of the members of the main cast of Rebels and Bail and Leia appearing in Andor?
Again, because this is all leading to the events of Star Wars. And if you understand the role Rebels played in the formation of the rebellion, and if there is a subtext to Andor, it's about the formation of the rebellion, I think there's a decent chance we see some Rebel characters. And again, not just for cameo's sake, but because they are indeed central to the story.
Yeah.
So there was a first part to that. What was the first part?
It was
Carrie,
Carrie, Beck, and Dave.
whatever.
Yeah.
Again, why I don't understand people sometimes. You want to give the movie studio head to somebody who's never made a movie before. All due respect to all my fellow film fans, that is really not logical. Where's the sense in that? It's the job is the head of a movie studio, and you want to give it to somebody who's never made a movie,
Who admitted he's just learning how to like.
who admitted himself, which is one of the reasons why I respect Dave Filoni so much. Like, Dave Filoni is like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. That's why I got John Favreau. You want to give the head of the studio to somebody who's never made a movie,
I don't
even
think
as a
he wants
filmmaker.
it. It would be
makes
so stressful.
zero logical sense.
No.
No sense whatsoever. Anyway.
And Ahsoka would literally be in every single piece of content.
All right, what's next?
124 Jedi says, I watched Star Wars Celebration and seeing Hayden back in Ahsoka 2, or season 2 will be great. I just hope this season will be better than the last. I did see Akbar is back. He's going head to head against Thrawn. You guys gonna watch it? It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I'm probably not going
Are
to
you
watch
tapped on
Ahsoka
Ahsoka?
season 2. I'm tapped out. It
Wasn't as bad as Acolyte.
No. It wasn't as bad as Acolyte.
I'd say it was actually probably a little better than Obi-Wan.
But
too.
that's like saying getting kicked in the balls wasn't as bad as being shot in the face.
No, that's true.
You know, it's you're still kicked in the balls.
If I had my choice.
But no, I listen, I'll give it its due. Ahsoka was better than Acolyte, absolutely. It was also better than the Book of Boba Fett.
You don't like reading, John?
Better than Obi-Wan.
I don't think it was better than Obi-Wan. And I didn't like, I think Obi-Wan was better than Ahsoka.
I've actually just gone back and watched the first episode of Obi-Wan, and I love that first episode of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous says, yes, what are your thoughts on the new changes and updates with the Academy Awards? Like casting now gets a nomination, for example.
Well, I mean, we've talked about that ad nauseum when they made the announcement. So, like, I think it's good that they're doing a casting thing. I mean,
think it's great.
Other awards bodies have had that for a while. I think it's good. And we talked a little bit earlier about the idea about now codifying the fact that in order to vote in a category, you got to make sure you saw all the movies in that category. You got to watch the 5 movies that, you know, Best Cinematography is nominated for if you're going to vote in Best Cinematography. So I think those are good rules. I think it's a good change.
Just speaking of, just curious says, hey guys, saw the Oscars are mandating voters to have to watch all the movies.
No, and again, misunderstanding, they do not have to watch all the movies.
Right. The new system is really cool, and I'm sure we'll crack down on any outlier voters who didn't watch all the movies. Glad they implemented this.
Again, just to be very, very clear, they do not have to watch all the movies. They have to watch all the movies that are nominated in the category they're voting in.
Yeah, okay.
All right. Now, the reality is 99% of the time they were doing it anyway. They really were. But it is good that they've put it now on paper in the rules. It's codified, and I think that's a good move. Probably an overdue move for them to do that as well. All right, what's next?
Ronetta with a 1 of 2. Hi, crew. I'm so excited for Andor and went and saw Sinners in IMAX twice already.
Nice.
We'll be going a 3rd time this weekend in Dolby. Every musical sequence for me is phenomenal. Let's see, I think it's up here. Especially that one sequence, how Coogler shows how the blues is the heartbeat echoed in every genre of music that followed. Beautifully done. Can't see anyone else pulling that off. Maybe Spike Lee. Miles Canton's voice reminds me of the greats.
The movie's magnificent. It's the best film of the year so far. I still don't like that one scene, though.
The one he's referring to?
Yeah, the one she's referring to. I did not like that. I didn't think that scene worked, to be honest with you.
Interesting.
But that was it. That 1 minute is the only 1 minute of Sinners I didn't absolutely love. Again, I think so far it's the best film of the year. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety, one big difference between Game of Thrones and The Last of Us is that while Sean Bean is a great actor, he is not the draw of the sexy daddy. Also, by the time Ned dies, I thought that was interesting in that scene. She's like, and you're handsome too.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Also, by the time Ned dies, watchers have picked their favorite from a large choice of rich, juicy characters.
I mean, look, I never said that the comparison between, you know, the Game of Thrones situation with the death of the main character at the end and the death of Joel were exactly the same. Of course, there are some differences, but the key similarities is what the point is. The point is that, like, because I found myself in that situation when I got to the end of Game of Thrones season 1, they killed off the main character, my favorite character, and the most famous guy in the cast at the time. And I, as a viewer, was like, F this show. I don't know if I'm going to watch this anymore. And of course I did. Now, fast forward a few years and we're at The Last of Us, and the most famous guy in the cast, the main character of the show, gets killed off. Maybe not in season 1, but at the very beginning of season 2. And some people are going, F this show. I don't know if I'm going to watch this anymore. So it's all completely similar in the important ways. Yes, of course, the two different shows from two different eras. There are definitely some differences, but the key point, the comparison we were making was favorite character, main guy, most famous name in the cast at the time, and they killed him off. And that seemed to work for Game of Thrones. Will it work for Last of Us? We'll find out. All right, what's next?
We got Renata. Renata, one last thing. Every cast member was phenomenally talented. This is about Sinners. Not enough people is mentioned. Jack O'Connell. He was fantastic. Everything about this film was intentional. I will be seeing this as many times as I can while it's in the theaters.
Was that who played the main vampire?
Think so.
Think so. He was great. But you're right. Everybody in the cast was great. From Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Jordan. The kid who played the cousin. Haley was fantastic. Woomy was fantastic. The whole cast was like phenomenal performances. Even like the secondary characters. Like the Asian store owner, she was fantastic. Her husband was fantastic. The hick couple that the vampire first turns, they were fantastic. The Ku Klux Klan guy was amazing. I mean, all the performances are so believable. Just such a great movie. That's, again, best film of the year so far. All right, what's next?
We got Fanata Chat. How might the upcoming Thunderbolts movie reshape the moral landscape of the MCU? What implications could it have for the future of traditional heroism in the franchise?
None. It's one movie. It's not going to redefine anything. It's going to, now it can be unique and it can do things a little bit differently, but what in the grand scheme of thing, how is this going to forever change the direction of the MCU? It's not. It's going to be a movie that's done with very different kinds of characters that maybe handle their moral, objectives a little bit differently than maybe other, but it's ultimately not going to change the direction of how the MCU does things. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Isolate it to one movie if you want. I'm just really excited about the movie. All right, what's next?
All hail the Hypnotoad. Just realized that we're nearly 3 years removed from the previous season of Stranger Things. No sign of the next or even a trailer. This may be a Guinness World Record for longest gap between seasons, taking pointers from Lucasfilm making Star Wars movies.
No, there are shows that have gone longer. But anyway, sometimes decades. I am very, very curious. See, everybody joked about it, but it's really going to be a problem. They better say there's a time jump in the story because these kids do not look like kids anymore. These kids they're not kids. A couple of them are married now. And so that's going to become an issue. If they keep trying to pass them off as these, gosh golly, little grade school kids and going to ride their bikes to school, I think that's going to become kind of thing. They should pull a Saved by the Bell and do Stranger Things the college years.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Well, they're doing 90210. Everyone was 30, but they're in high school.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they're gonna have to do something. It's been years. By the way, it's also been 3 years since Andor season 1. Isn't that weird? It's been 3 years since that.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
We got Touch Me says, hey, John and crew, which Pedro Pascal character's death traumatized the audience more, Joel Miller or Oberyn Martell? Joel. I felt bad for Oberyn, but the whole time I'm like, dude, stop talking.
Yeah, I mean, Joel was a main character. Yeah. Oberyn was a great character.
Yeah.
I see something and it gives me pleasure. I see something else and it gives me pleasure. That was a great scene, by the way. Yeah. That was an awesome scene. But yeah, by a mile, Joel. By a mile, Joel. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous is also a fun cast addition to the new Ready or Not movie. Sean Hattasey from The Pit and Southland.
I don't remember who he is.
Yeah, I don't. Should
I'm gonna look it up though. Because I love The Pit. The Pit's amazing. But which one is he? Like the dude that gets caught with the drugs? That's gonna be my guess.
Southland, man, that's a deep cut. That thing was like maybe 2 seasons.
Wait, what's the name of the actor?
Sean Hattasey.
I'm not seeing him listed at all.
Okay,
I just had it.
Yes, okay, I recognize him.
Do you got a picture you can bring up?
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Damn, because I got that picture of Kathleen Kennedy behind me, my autofocus keeps wanting to go to her.
Had here. I got him here.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen him before. I got a picture right here. Bring it up.
So you can bring it up on your screen.
Yeah.
As we wait quietly.
I know. Everything is like not working right.
Oh, that's Noah Wiley's best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great
Here's
in
a
this
better
show.
shot.
Yeah, I really like him. All right.
He's aged. Man, it's been a minute since I've seen him again.
Yeah, I mean, he does not, I was going to say, he does not look like that first picture you brought up at
Yeah.
all. All right, what's
All
next?
right, we got Mr. I says, are you still unsure when you have your Andor post game? Well, we actually answered that. If so, hit up Harloff. He's seen the entire season. He may be able to give you an idea of episode run times. They're all about 45 to 50 minutes. He said the first 2 episodes are okay, but it ramps up from there.
Yeah, we're going to be doing it tomorrow, so
Yeah.
which is what we announced. All right, what's next?
Okay, so that's it for tips. We got some member questions here. Matt says, "Hey crew, I've been rewatching the Final Destination films before the one comes out next month. Man, you're gonna have a lot of imagery stuck in your head from all those. My favorite is still the first one. What's your favorite, and how excited are you?"
I think they're terrible movies.
Yeah, I've only seen like 1 or 2.
Yeah, I haven't. I've only liked one Final Destination movie. It wasn't the first one. I lost them all. Quite frankly, they don't work for me. I'm not saying they're bad for everybody or that somebody shouldn't like them. If they do it for you, they do it for you. That's great. But I've never liked them. That said, man, the presentation they showed us for this new Final Destination movie at CinemaCon was out of this world. And I would be lying through my teeth if I didn't tell you I was really excited for it. All I'm going to say is this. There's a scene coming up in this movie. They showed us the full sequence of this. All I'll tell you is this.
Oh, yeah.
So you'll be ready for it.
I remember.
Without giving anything too much away. There is a scene coming up in this new Final Destination movie that involves, let's just say, the power of magnetism. Let's just leave it at that. That may be my favorite horror movie scene in over 10 years. It is so bonkers. And you're like, you can think of that, but you can't actually do that on screen. Oh my God, they're doing it on screen. All I'm going to say is that it's a scene that involves magnetism. And when you're watching the movie, you'll know this is the moment. And it is movie magic. It is pure movie magic. And so yeah, man, I've never said these words, but I will say them now. Man, I'm excited for the next Final Destination movie. I'm really excited for this thing, man. The presentation they gave us at CinemaCon was off the charts. It was so good. I cannot wait to watch it. All right, what's next?
We got Alex, who says, would you say Sinners is Ryan Coogler's best film? It's between Sinners and Creed for me, but I love all of his films, even Wakanda Forever.
Before I start putting things in context of all time, I usually need to marinate on it a bit. Sinners is marvelous. My first thought is I might have liked Fruitvale Station a little bit more. But I don't know. Then I kind of swing to Sinners is his best movie. I need to marinate on that for a while, but it's definitely in the conversation of maybe being his best film. I like it. I think it's a better film than Creed. I know. I think it's a better film than Creed. Now, whether it's better than Fruitvale Station or better than Black Panther, I'm not really sure. It's definitely better than Creed. It's definitely better than Creed 2. But anyway. All right, what's next?
Slarf says, hey, everyone. Just wanted to say you guys inspire me daily. Also, Ray, you got some football cards next to you. Go Packers.
Does he see the football card?
You can see him.
Oh, in the shot?
Are those Anne's or did you?
Yeah, no, it was Anne. She wanted me to check them out just to see if she had anything, but I haven't gotten to it. Yeah.
Anne has gotten into collecting sports cards.
Yeah.
All right. What's next?
Spiral Nexus says, hey guys, happy Tuesday. What are your guys' thoughts on Muse in Born Again? Personally, I was kind of underwhelmed. I know that's partially on me, though, because of getting my expectations up from everyone hyping him up. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
I thought he was great. I thought they used him well. He played he wasn't the story. Muse wasn't the story. Therefore, they shouldn't have used him as if he was the story. They used him for his part in the story, and they did it well. And I thought they executed it really well. Guys, remember too, in the comics, he's a very short-lived character, really. He's not used a lot. But, I mean, he did have his own story, and they didn't really make this season of Daredevil the Muse story, but they used him as a piece of the puzzle, and I thought they used him well. I really did. All right, last question. What's the next one?
Alan says, Happy Tuesday, Camping Crew. Have you watched the Apple TV series, Your Friends and Neighbors? I see they have already renewed it for a second season, so they must have a lot of confidence in it.
It's the new John Hamm series.
Yeah.
Where he plays a mega rich guy who suddenly loses his job, and to keep up his lifestyle, he starts breaking in and stealing from his rich neighbors.
Right.
I have not started watching it yet. But I was instantly taken with it when I saw the previews for it. I'm definitely going to get on board with it. I'm happy to hear that they've renewed it. So I'll be getting on it. I am currently now trying to keep up with Mobland. My goodness.
Yeah.
The new Tom Hardy show.
I'm going to finish the Jackal first. I'm halfway through.
Oh, Jackal is great, man. And its finale is fantastic. That's a shame that more people aren't subscribed to Peacock.
Yeah.
Because Jackal by itself, well, Parks and Rec and The Office is a good enough reason to be subscribed to Peacock.
Scrubs, all that stuff, all those NBC comedies.
But Jackal totally makes it worth it to get Peacock. I love that show.
Mm-hmm.
And all right, guys, that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it and all is involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Big thank you to Rob and Chris who are already on their way home. Thanks to Ray Ora.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Jonathan Voico.
See you guys.
My name's John Campea. Game day, guys. It's Andor time tonight. I'll talk to you later. See you next time. Bye-bye.